AI isn't just evolving, it's taking over. What happens when your assistant isn't human, but an AI that updates your CRM, makes calls, and even runs your business? Today, I sat down with Matthew White, CEO and founder of Keybot and Platypus AI, who's building exactly that, a personal AI assistant that works across your entire tech stack. We talk about the industries AI is quietly replacing, why traditional businesses like law firms are terrified of automation, and how small businesses can outcompete giants. The question isn't if AI will change your industry, it's how soon. So let's get into it.
My name is Matthew White. I'm the CEO of two companies, technically. One is a company called Keybot, Qebot. I know a lot of people always wonder how you say it, what it's spelled at. And what that is like a SaaS marketplace, right? So we bring a whole bunch of different tools, website builders, social media platforms, email marketing, in just a single platform to make it more simple for these tools to be purchased and used. They interlink in the background, so it just is a much more flexible way to operate these tools. It's all a la carte, and we work with a lot of like small, medium-sized businesses with that. We're partners with a bunch of larger organizations like the Better Business Bureau, Chambers of Commerce, the back end of a lot of like marketing agencies for their SaaS stack. So that's been my legacy business for the last 10 years. And my co-founder and I, we just actually started a new project, which is Platypus AI on top of our Platypus OS platform. What we've done there is we've basically built out our own proprietary browser, and then we're integrating AI into it to make a kind of an assistant, but fully adaptable assistant, right? Something that can work on behalf of you on all the applications that you use or purchase within your tech stack, that can can do research for you, and basically be like your Jarvis, right? Just be there to do what you need to do on a day-to-day activity basis. Kind of the idea that came from just building simplicity with technology through Keybot, and then taking a next step with AI. So that's who I am. That's what we do. That's the exciting things that we're working on.
Awesome. And just out of curiosity, does Keybot integrate then with Platypus? Because if you're allowing it to work and be your assistant, is that kind of where it came from? Or
Yeah, so actually the first idea for Platypus came with the idea of taking the application that we built with Keybot, where again it's a consolidated platform of all these different tools, and then building it further out so that people can use our tools in conjunction with other tools that they're using. So we kind of reorganized the browser, and that was kind of the start of that idea. I just kind of make a browser much more focused on business, focused on work, focused on the applications that you use, a little bit trimmed down so it's not as bloated as like a Chrome, things like that. And then we got that, we launched it. People love it. People seem to be really liking it, especially a lot of our old customers. And then we started playing with AI, and we're like, oh, wait a second. Since we own everything and we render everything through the browser, we can really do some interesting things with AI on this. Let's keep playing. And then we found the ability to really make it an assistive system. So that's kind of what it grew from and into and through. So yes, to answer your question in a long way, Keybot is fully integrated into the Platypus OS experience. Yeah.
I guess you've had quite a bit of experience then with AI. Is there anything exciting coming up, maybe for Platypus or in general, that you're keeping your eye on?
I mean, it's all moving so fast these days, right? When we look at
Yeah.
what AI was a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, it's like, wow, this thing it's moving so fast. So it's hard to say. I mean, there's a ton of exciting things coming. I think, and again, this is where we're building I think assistive AI is where we're really going to see some major jumps. I think right now, AI is very good at being, it's being informational or, respond to, hey, how do I make a casserole, right? It's great at like searching, finding information on the internet, and then bringing that back to you as a conversation. I think the next big evolution is going to be assistive features where it can, for example, what we're doing, if you have Salesforce, we want it to be able to say, hey, AI, go change John Doe's phone number to this, and then give him a call. And it will do that in the background without you even having to have that specific tab open. I think that's where the next real version of it, we already see like
Yeah.
Anthropic has their computer version. AI has got their system. We can actually use a browser within their system. I think ours is a little bit deeper in the way we're building kind of the browser and the AI integration, where you can kind of use it a little bit more. But I think the assistive quality is where it's going to get really exciting, where a lot of the day-to-day operations and day-to-day tasks you use are really going to start to be automated, and you'll be able to use AI as a true assistant and take a lot of that just basic work off your plate and get back to like what you do for a living or what you love doing. So
Yeah,
I think that's the goal. Next steps here.
that's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's kind of reminding me of like this trend right now with like AI agents or vertical AI agents that are really specialized in performing certain tasks within a certain area. But I guess with those, you'd still have to figure out how to train them and really outline the specific problem. But in your case, it seems like it's just a very open-ended solution. I don't think I've heard of anything like that where you can just integrate it so seamlessly into your workflows. Do you have any fun or interesting examples or use case you've had with Platypus that is revolutionary for maybe a certain type of person or really like cuts down on time for something?
Yeah, definitely. So one of the things that we're finding with how we're able to integrate it into, again, the browser experience, especially with the tools that we've been selling through Keybot. So we went and, trained a lot of it on those tools to start. And the training isn't actually even that heavy. A lot of these, we're building feedback loops within the system. So when you tell the AI to go find John Doe's phone number in your CRM, it will do it step by step. It will say, okay, I need to go open the CRM. Then after that, it will refeed itself its prompt and say, okay, I've already done this. Next, I need to find John Doe, or I need to find the search bar within this interface. And so it kind of loops itself all the way through it. And we found it's what's been surprising, actually, the AI is a lot better at this than we actually thought it was going to be, which has been exciting. That's a lot less development for us to do. But we definitely have found that with some of the simpler tasks that we were testing in the initial period, like, hey, post hello world to my Facebook page through our social media platform, it was able to run itself through that process and actually do those things. And now we're getting to a point where our browser can interact with the computer, where we're able to say, hey, upload a photo from this specific file into this, and then post, create social media. And then through that, we can even have the AI itself help us like write the prompt or write the captions for the social media, right? Help you kind of rush through that process a little bit more and get the quality, get the hashtags you want. So that's what we're finding. So the social media one, we found people are really kind of enjoying because they can just interact with it in a much more seamless way, and they can kind of get rid of some of like the creative process that you go through. That one's been really cool. Also, we have a lead generation tool that we're able to feed all the information of your business in without having to like manually type it in, because it can take a business owner 30 minutes to fill out this whole profile, or you can take 3 minutes with the AI to do it. And again, it's just simplifying. I think a lot of just like data entry process that people hate doing, that is what we're really trying to take off people's plates and just speed up, the process of managing these SaaS tools. So I think that's where we're getting excited is just helping people not to spend a ton of time on front of their computer just typing out work, and being able to get back to whatever it is they do or they love, or the work that they do, making more money if they can book more jobs, right? So things like that.
Yeah, I guess it's really decreasing the friction or like time between thought and execution. Because if you can just tell someone to do something, that's probably the shortest possible thing. And having it just do everything for you just leaves you with the creative strategy, more high leverage
And a lot
activities.
cheaper than a personal assistant would be.
Yeah. Do you think personal assistants are going to exist in the next few years if this is
I hate to say, like, I hate to get gloomy about things. I've been on a few podcasts where people are like, okay, let's stay positive. But I mean, also, you can just order things through Uber Eats now. What if Uber Eats is connected into an AI? You just like, AI, order from Uber Eats. I don't know. But I do think a new industry will start to spark up in the agents. So I like you were talking about the new AI agents, because that's one thing that we feel within our ecosystem we're going to continue to build out, though, is like a marketplace of AI agents that are more fine-tuned for very specific things. One example I like to give is, like, my mom's a real estate agent, right? So having a way that every day the AI can automatically pull in the new listings from her MLS. Maybe she has a database of all these people she's working with, what they're, what things they want, what things they like, what things they need at their house. And then it can automatically run the calculations and then match people up with those houses, and then just send emails, right? Just like automate that whole process for them. Those are things, somebody building an AI agent would come in and fine tune for that specific vertical. And there could be a huge, huge industry, I think, going forward in building those kinds of systems.
Yeah, it's got me thinking actually. There's a new AI company, I think more in the law tech sphere, and they're helping lawyers with research, I think pulling precedents, whatever case law. And that combined with the idea of AI agents, to me, it's like that whole industry, not whole industry, but a big chunk of it is so reliant on the billable hour, which is it even ethical to charge hourly if you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because I think there's a lot of pushback right now. I was interested in this and I was learning a bit about it. And a lot of lawyers' pushback is, oh, well, how am I going to make money now? Like they don't want to implement tools that are going to make the billable parts more efficient. But then I think at a certain point, you have to say, okay, well, it's not really ethical to withhold the tools that would make the delivery faster and cheaper. So I think it will likely end up being like a deliverable based pricing or something. But I think there's going to be so many cases where the efficiency of AI is going to completely transform existing infrastructures. Like there's no way around it. I don't really know how else
absolutely,
that could be
absolutely. One of
navigated.
the things that I think about in that kind of scenario, right, is well, it's what's going to happen is efficiency is going to end up winning. You'll have these law firms that say, I don't want to accept this because it's going to ruin my billable hours. Okay, well, some other company is going to like go full board into it, and they're going to be able to manage 10 times the client load for half the staff that you do at way lower prices per company or per customer they work with, and they're going to soak up all the business. And that's
Yeah.
I hear it all the time. All the companies are like, well, we're not going to do that because it's just not the way we've done things. Well, things change. It's not going to
Look
work
at
out so well for you.
newspapers.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
You got to be
Or
adaptable or
Blockbuster.
you're going to be left in the dust. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. What are your thoughts on like trends of what people are going to be interested in? Like, I think human interaction is going to be so much bigger. The way that AI is automating things, I feel like people are going to be craving more so the human interaction element because there's so much noise now. Like, LinkedIn is filled with posts that are AI generated. I'm just reading them and it's exhausting. Like, just exhausting to read all this fluff. So I don't know. Do you think there's going to be resurgence of physical, real stuff because it's kind of going in the other direction right now? But I think, I don't know, we might go back to that.
I think you're right, actually. So what I would see is us becoming a lot more efficient. So right now, let's say a salesperson spends 30% of their day prospecting new clients, and then another 20% of the day writing those initial emails to do that whole process, and then the other, what does that come to, 60% of the day, whatever it might be, they spend the rest of that time actually having interactions and phone calls and sales meetings, those types of things. What if you had an AI that could automate the prospecting process, could automate the matchup of what prospect should be focused on, which customer or product that you have, without you having to dive into that? So less of the research, less of the initial like outreach, and can do more of just the interactive part of the job where you're actually closing business. I think we could see using those tools, salespeople spending more time on the face-to-face conferences, things like that, where you're actually getting that network and building the relationship, and a
Yeah.
lot less time on the other stuff. I think you could close more sales because you're getting that 40% of your day back, and you're going to spend more time on the interaction process instead of the mind numbing prospecting and data matching. So I think that could be a really great way. There's different things too. Like I think about, so I take like the Waymos here in San Francisco, the driverless cars, right? That is a complete lack of interaction with people because I get in the car and there's nobody in there. But I can like play my music at whatever level I want. I can turn on whatever heat I want. I can do all that kind of stuff. So I think there's going to be a balance. There's going to be, when it comes to
Yeah.
career wise, I think probably more people are going to be focusing on the interactive stuff because that's something that I don't think we're going to have AI automating for a long time. And they're going to be more efficient. I think people might be able to close more business, make more money using the right tools in the right way.
Yeah. I think the unscalable things are the things that are going to be the differentiating factors later because AI is allowing businesses to automate so much and cut down on time so much that all that's left is like the I don't know, the je ne sais quoi of the
Yeah.
company, the like value of it.
Us
So
looking at each other.
yeah, so I think it'll be cool to see. I think there's gonna be a lot more creativity and value focused business moving forward, because that's all you're going to have to differentiate. You can't use efficiency anymore if everyone is efficient. You can't use like, oh, we can get you this many leads if everyone can get you that many leads. It's about like the other stuff. Yeah.
I think about
So
too. So like CRMs, for example. So we work with a lot of small businesses, right? 1, 5, 10 person employee companies. And a lot of times they're not using the tools they need to because they don't have the time or the wherewithal or the tech savvy to use those if you're, an older small business owner, where CRM could potentially help them close more business and manage their customer base and manage their lead sources a lot more functionally, but they just don't use them because they don't have the time to go home and input the information, or they don't have the time or the knowledge of how to use these technologies. If we can take AI and have them be the interaction point,
yeah.
where you say, okay, put in this person's information, this is the service that they need, and then set my appointment for this, and you can just interact that way. I think that's going to drive a lot of the people that don't want to use the technology to potentially use it more effectively, and then drive their businesses to be more successful. They could, instead of using the time, again, typing in the stuff into the business, they can use that time to, go out and work another job. Or instead of hiring somebody who's going to sit in the office and put data in all day long, they could potentially hire another field rep that's going to be out on the streets making the company more money, right? So I think that's going to be a big change as well, is that I think that
Yeah.
small to medium-sized business industry or sector, if they could adopt this, it could be a huge boom for their business and their efficiency,
Yeah,
productivity. So
100%. Especially
yes.
with like the overhead. If you're offering the same service as a big company and you have like all the same efficiency now, you're making way more money. So
Yeah.
like there you
Yeah.
go.
If you can do 2 more jobs in a day, I mean, that's going to make your company a lot more money, right? And
Yeah.
that's something we're excited about too. I've worked with the small business community for a long time, and it's something I'm kind of passionate about, and I love to be able to bring new systems to that group and show them that it can work for them. And so that's kind of a
Mhm.
exciting passion of mine.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And how do you find clients or potential users for your products? Because I'm sure like there's so much noise right now with new AI products popping up all the time, and people kind of get a little bit hesitant to even interact with campaigns or stuff because it's just so much. So how do you kind of
Yeah.
differentiate or stand out and get in front of the people who you think would benefit most?
Yeah, yeah, you make a good point. Marketing at this point is, because this is all so new, and we don't know how people are finding this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of like throwing things at a wall right now, trying to
Hmm.
get people to understand what this is and what it can do for them, or why they should be using our system versus other systems. I think a big way for us, and the nice thing is, through our work with Keybots, we've actually been able to build a really nice big network for ourselves that we're able to tap into right off the bat. So that's been a nice starting point for us. I mean, again, we're the partnerships with the Better Business Bureau and chambers of commerce and agencies. That allows us to get some scale right off the bat with our new products as we come out. But I mean, when we first started Keybot, getting our first clients was honestly just us cold calling as many people as we could for the first, 3 months, until we got our first 6, 7 customers and finally landed our first franchise business that led to another franchise business. And then from there, we could start to use the data that we had to understand,
Yeah.
okay, here's how people were using it. Here's, specific tools that are driving more ROI for us or have higher retention levels. So let's market specifically for the website builder. Let's run some ads for that. And then we were able to use data to kind of help us understand where we should focus. With AI, it's going to be interesting. I think the AI is going to be a lot more. There's 2 kinds of marketing I find. One is like marketing where you push something out there and you drive people in via they're searching for your product or whatever. And the other is educational based, right? Where they don't really know what it is, or they don't know they need it. And so you need to educate that group that this is something out there that could you use. And I think that's where AI is right now, trying to educate as much as possible. So that's going to be, instead of just running ads, it's going to be creating content. It's going to be doing
About it.
podcasts.
Yeah.
It's going to, helping people understand where this is and what it is. And I think a lot of the future of marketing is going to be a lot of content management and
Yeah.
people get in front of people.
Yeah. And I think content, specifically human, like generated, because I think quickly we're going to be saturated with AI content and it's just going to be overwhelming. So, but yeah,
100%. It
that's
already is
another
becoming
story. Yeah,
overwhelming.
it's especially now that people can generate videos of people talking with AI. It's like, I don't know. It's getting
I mean,
crazy.
how terrifying
But
is that, to be honest?
I know, like a podcast with two AIs talking to each other is already enough, but seeing someone like that's AI generated talking, as if it becomes indistinguishable at that point, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But
That, I mean, it
yeah,
is scary. We're moving into a brave new world. I don't like, there's a lot of exciting parts. There's a lot of parts that I'm just like, oof, there's some things to be nervous about here. So, yeah.
100%. I know network effect is pretty prevalent with social media, let's say, where the company that has a bigger network wins, right? Do you think there's going to be any of that with, because you said it's kind of like a browser. So I don't know any competition for your browser yet, but do you know if that's going to be like a thing where they might start popping up and the winner takes all, or how do you see that panning out?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're already starting to see a little bit that some of the browser companies are going to start integrating AI into their functionality, right? I think so. If we look at OpenAI's their browser function, what I've played with a little bit, what I found is it allows you to ask it questions and have it do simple tasks for you. There's still a little bit of struggle around what it can and can't do and how it can interact with the tools. I think ours is much more focused in on like helping you manage software and manage tools, and we're fine tuning it for that specifically. Where OpenAI is thinking just, I think maybe probably more broad, where they're saying just use AI on top of this whole thing to answer questions and things like that. And I mean, maybe the convergence of those come together and I mean, again, they have a lot more money than we do. So we'll see where they can go with it. But also, I mean, you'll see with Google's already integrating this with all of their applications. I'm assuming the browser's going to come soon. I don't know where it goes. I think we're doing things that are fun and exciting. And, we're able to, Keybot keeps us paid. And then this is kind of our new just passion project to see what it can do and where we can go with it. I think if we do things right and we continue to think about the user case here, we can build something that I think is going to be really exciting. And I think that's where sometimes big tech misses, is they don't always think about the end user and the user experience all that much. I've tested hundreds of different pieces of software in my Keybot days, and you definitely see the ones that understand UI and UX and those that just build as much functionality as possible and don't pay attention to that other side. And we've seen Microsoft launch products, Google launch products. There's like, this is a terrible user experience.
Yeah.
They did not focus on it. So that's what we're trying to focus a lot on, is the user experience itself, the interface, how you interact with it, and what it can do. And hopefully that guides us somewhere successful. See.
That's cool. So, what's your approach for optimizing user experience and making it really easy to use and not aversive for anyone who's not familiar with maybe the software that Keybot has, or even using AI in general? Like, how do you guys really make that simple for people?
I mean, that's the key word, is simple. Simplification of everything that we do, right? I'll have our team build out, functionalities or capabilities within either the Keybot platform or with our new browser, and I'll come in and look at it. And for some reason, my brain always just goes back to the caveman in me, where I'm like, I need it as dumb and as simple as possible. I need somebody to come and look at this and not be tech savvy at all and still understand, okay, I think I know how I can use this, right? And it's always just kind of going back to that, and this is going to sound weird to say, but that kind of basic brain, where if I
Yeah,
can't look at something and think, okay, I think I know what this is doing, then it's overcomplicated. Like, we've got to go back to the drawing
100%.
board, simplify it out, make it as just obvious and easy and big button as possible, so that anybody can come in and say, okay, I get it. Or after watching a 30-second video, I know how the entire technology works.
Yeah.
And again,
That's
I've
the
tested so
hardest
many.
part, though.
Oh yeah, by all means. Yeah,
Like, simple is not easy. Simple is the most
simple is the
difficult part, I
hardest.
think. It
Simple is
is,
by
yeah.
far the hardest, because especially when you're building on things, right? When you've built this system and it's simple and it works, but now people want to add another functionality, another capability. You're like, okay, how can we bolt this onto it? But when you bolt it on, what does that user experience look like? How does that feel, right? And a lot of times the bolt-on idea or
Yeah.
way that works never tends to work well from an interaction perspective. And
Yeah.
that's kind of how I think. And we were not afraid to rebuild when we need to. So,
That's cool.
which is
Yeah, I
hard.
think there's a big challenge with making the interface itself speak for itself, like functionally, that you can tell what it does without over labeling things. And like you try to make it simple but understandable. And that's a really hard balance to have. And then there's like sometimes the onboarding problems of, do you go for, a video, or do you go for progressive onboarding where you're taking people through each step and then maybe they'll miss it? And like it's, I don't know. I think it's fascinating, but I really appreciate simple design. Like that's something I personally love. So really great to hear that.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I've always kind of respected Apple is
Yeah.
they really do one of the best jobs I've seen at just simplifying things to a point where they're powerful tools and powerful systems, but also you can get in and kind of start using these tools without a lot of knowledge because they do a good job at that user interface, that
100%.
user interaction. So,
And I think exactly like you said, the simple brain, like the evolutionary
yeah,
gut instinct, like it's so true because we have a certain subconscious like reaction to what we're seeing, and an initial impression is really powerful, but we can't really tell what impact it has. So I think,
yeah.
yeah, getting into that is really valuable. And I think Apple's really good at that, actually.
I agree. And I think it's one of those things, again, when I come into it, if I look at it, I can usually tell 10, 15, 30 seconds in if it is going to work or it's not. And I think that's the point, is you got to be able to come in and within a few seconds be like, okay, I can use this, or
Yeah.
this is where we were way off.
Yeah. So what do you guys do to find, I guess for Keybot, like you have a ton of tools. You said you used to vet a ton. What's that process like? I imagine it's pretty intensive to go through, but I guess
Yeah.
how do you pick the best that you can find?
Yeah, so I mean, originally it was kind of a slog, to be honest, because we were going out and we partner with these different technology companies, and we say, hey, we want to integrate you into our platform. Here's how it all would work. For the first first year or so, we were going out and trying to get these companies to partner with us and spend resources on integrating their system into our platform. We didn't have much for clients, right? So we were just kind of going out there and puffing our chests and be like, hey, this is going to be big, just trust us. And I think through that process, we've gone through and had to replace tools a few times. We've had tools that we launched that we eventually took back because it just wasn't the right fit for our business. But I think over the years, we were able to kind of readjust how we looked at different products to see what the process is. And once we got to a place where people wanted to start integrating with us, that made it a lot easier. But we'd even have somebody come in and say, hey, we've got this appointment software. We think it'd be great on your platform. We would go, great, let's see your technology. And then since we're going to look at your technology, we're also going to find 5 other appointment companies or softwares that would also potentially work. And we'll line them up and we'll do tests because, again, what was important to us is we have a great product, a lot of functionality, but also we know our client base and we know it's got to be simple enough for them to come in and be able to use pretty quickly and easily. So that was really kind of the focus. And a lot of it was just us testing. Honestly, me going in and just playing with software, seeing how it worked, getting demo accounts, and just trying to break it and understanding. And we go through the process. And usually we would, any tool we integrated, we typically looked at either between 5 and 15 competitors of that tool to understand which one we thought was going to be the best for our clients from a, functionality, user experience, cost. It's got to, we've got to think of the customers that we're serving and what cost products they come in. So yeah, there's a long process. Any tool that we've integrated, there's been a lot of work that's gone behind to make sure that it was the right tool for our business, what we want to do.
What's your target? You said marketing agencies or like software or what was the target audience?
So for Keybot, it's mostly the small to medium-sized business market, but that is in a couple different ways. So we have a lot of just like direct, small, medium-sized, and that's anywhere between, a sole proprietor all the way to, let's say, 200 employees, right? So somewhere in that kind of realm, that's where we sit pretty well. So some of the multiplier effects that we get though too is, we can get just the small, medium-sized businesses here and there, but we also partner with a lot of marketing agencies that also service kind of that group. So they are going and servicing the medium-sized business market, and they'll use our system to build the websites for the customers and manage the social media, run email marketing campaigns, do lead generation, all that kind of stuff. So they'll use our
Mm-hmm.
system as their back end for that. So we have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
marketing agencies that do that. And then we have just some resellers, some like MSPs that are like, oh, you got a nice suite of tools here. We can just partner with you and launch these and then be done with it and just make that, revenue share with you. So we've made it really easy to white label the Keybot platform and then launch it as your own product and your own product system. The
Mm-hmm.
BBB loves that. Chambers of Commerce love it. And that's kind of the way we've built that is really kind of looking at it because, again, each customer doesn't spend a lot on our platform. So volume is important. We went out and
Yeah.
really kind of focused on multiplier effects, running marketing for marketing agencies, running marketing towards, companies that would want, we do a lot of franchises too. So a lot of franchise
Mm-hmm.
businesses use our platform to help with all of their marketing for all their locations. So, yeah.
Sweet. So I guess looking back, you've had a pretty extensive entrepreneurial journey. What's like one thing you did maybe early on that had an outsized impact, would you say today or in general?
Yeah, I would probably say, okay, so when we first started Keybot, our idea actually was to start building the tools that we were going to integrate into the platform. So building our own social media platform, building our own email marketing platform, and then launching those. And it was one day we just we had a website builder and we had a basic social media platform that we'd built. And one day we were just like, look at like some of these tools are just so much better than ours. And if we can continue building our own systems, but I don't think we're ever going to be able to keep up with the technologies that evolves if we're trying to still manage the platform. And so we dumped our own website builder and integrated with a company called Yola for their website builder and launched that. And just the product quality was at a different level than we were ever building ourselves. And that's when we realized, oh, this is our model. Actually, our model
Mm-hmm.
isn't to build all these tools, but our model is a SaaS integration platform where we can go find the best of the best, integrate in one place. And I think one of the things too is we had a lot of people come to us and say, and this kind of go back to the simplicity stuff. We had a lot of people come back to us and say, hey, why don't you integrate like 5 different social media platforms and give people choice? And I was like, people don't want the choice, to be
Yeah.
honest. If they're coming to us and they want to buy 4 tools because that is the draw of our business, it's all centralized, all single sign-on, one
Mm-hmm.
billing. They don't want to have to choose between 3, 4, 5 different social media
Yeah.
platforms. They
Like, tell
want
me what's the best one.
exactly. They want us to tell them we've done the vetting, we've done the work. This is a great tool. You're going to love it. Go.
Yeah.
People want choice, but at the end they don't want any choice. That's
No,
why they ask
choices.
friends for referrals, right?
Yeah. Choices. The idea of choice is nice, but actually choosing is exhausting. Like, if you ask someone what they want to eat, that's like the worst question
Yeah.
to answer.
Yep.
No one wants to do it. I'd rather you just tell me what you want and then I'll go with that.
Exactly. In
Yeah.
practicality, choice is terrible.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So that was a big inflection point is us realizing just one, give them the simplicity, and that's where we move forward.
Cool. Yeah, so then I guess what's one big lesson you've learned looking back? Maybe you had a big failure or something that didn't go as expected that
We've
really
had a
taught
lot.
you something. Do you have any little insights that might help someone who's starting out?
Yeah, so I think the big thing for us and what challenged us at the beginning especially was the idea of being flexible. Everybody has an idea. Everybody's idea, they can, especially these days, you can launch your ideas pretty easily, right? Like with the way you can build tools and interact with everything, it's pretty quick and easy. But you're going to come across a point where there's going to be some sort of inflection where you're like, okay, do we take this path or that path? Or do we take this path or stay on the path that we're on? And I think for any entrepreneur that is starting a business from scratch to succeed, they have to be willing to say, maybe my idea isn't fully fleshed out, and I have to be able to come in and say and evolve with what the business is and can be. Come in and say, hey, I maybe am not the domain expert that I thought I was in this space, but I have a lot of learning I can still do and become more adept at what I'm doing in this span. So I would say for anyone that's starting a company, the big things are be flexible, be willing to listen to other people, be willing to listen to your first customers and what they tell you, saying, hey, we love this, we don't really like that, and then being able to kind of run with those ideas instead of becoming offended by it. And then just continue learning as much as possible, absorb, find other, people that are in your industry or, other entrepreneurs, and just soak in as much information from them as you can, mentors, advisors, and just let it come to you. Let them show you how things are done. Because I found two things. Number one, you can learn a lot from mentors and people like that, and a lot of things that will just kind of speed up your growth process. And number two, once they start to trust you, so many of our clients we've gotten from mentors and advisors and people that come into our lives and say, hey, I've got something cool. I know, I trust Matt because we've done business together. We work in this kind of a way. Let's connect them. So really kind of just be open to meeting people, learning from them, networking. Your network is your most important aspect, I think.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's really good advice.
Thanks.
And what do you guys have in mind for this year? What are the big 2025 goals? What's coming, and how do you plan to tackle those?
Yeah. So I think for us, for Platypus OS specifically, or Platypus AI, we are really looking to get this. So right now it's in beta, and we have a lot of people beta testing it and are loving it, but it's obviously take it out of beta and take it into a GA kind of setting. Right now, we're finishing up one little aspect, which is kind of a learning module within the system where we're saying, so if let's say you say, I want you to add John Doe's phone number or add John Doe's information to the email marketing tool, right? Let's say for some reason it gets stuck somewhere. It doesn't find the right button it needs. We're building a prompting system where it goes back to the user and says, hey, I can't find it. I don't know what to do next. And the user can then take the next steps, and our system will record it and teach the AI what that is and how it works for that specific tool. So that's something that we're looking to launch here pretty soon, just to make sure that we're covering all the bases for the tools that, again, we found things get stuck. The social media tool, for example, we tested this year because people were saying, hey, go to the social media tool and publish a post this. Well, the publish button was called compose, not publish. And so the AI just wasn't picking that up and was getting confused by it. But so then we taught it. We used kind of this idea of like, oh, here's the next step in that kind of a setting. And now it does it every time. It can always figure it out. So we're building, that's going to be a new big thing we're going to build. I think that's going to allow us to really lead the charge when it comes to making these tools almost as automated as possible through AI, and really crowdsourcing a lot of that feedback. So that's an exciting thing we're working on. And then, I think over the next month or so, we'll pull the AI out of beta and release it for everybody to start using. And we're excited for people to start seeing what we built.
That's exciting. I'm actually curious. I want to test it out myself and see how it goes.
Yeah. We can platypusos.com. You can download it there, and then we have a little button there. You can sign up for our beta, and we'll send you the links and all that kind of stuff to get in. So
sweet.
Join us.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions, or maybe they want to get in touch with you or join Keybot, where can they get in contact?
Yeah, so the easiest way is just direct email to me, to be honest. I check my email constantly and I respond to them. So I would say, because it's easier, Matt, M-A-T-T, at platypus, just like the animal, OS, so platypusos.com. That's probably the easiest way. Yep. My Keybot one's a little bit different. It's weird spelling, so that one's harder.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I learned a lot, and this was really, really interesting to hear about everything.
Yeah, thank you. That was really fun. I love geeking out about this kind of stuff. So it's right at home for me.
Sweet. Happy to have you. And that's it for today.
All right. Thanks so much.